What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out Senator Kennedy makes mincemeat of woke Yale Law School professor. Now, I didn't understand the context of the title because they said makes mincemeat of. I had to go check the meaning. So for those of you who might not understand the meaning, it means destroys the woke Yale Law School professor. In other words, Senator Kennedy destroys woke law school professor. Well, let's get to it.
Professor Saren, you're a professor at Yale Law School?
I am.
Okay. And I see you've been pretty active on Twitter. I'm looking at one of your tweets from a few months ago, October 30th, 2023. I'd like to read it to you. Mm-hmm. The House Republican stance is, I kid you not, support for Israel as long as we make it easier for people to cheat on their taxes. End quote. Did you tweet that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. How many Republican congressmen or women did you talk to before you made that statement?
I was reacting to the fact that, and we've talked about it actually.
Yes, ma'am, but first, if you could, how many Republican congresswomen or congressmen did you talk to?
I didn't talk to them. I actually was just reacting to the legislation that was proposed.
You didn't talk to any of them?
No, sir.
Before you said that every single one of them supports Israel only if it is made easier for people to cheat on their taxes?
I actually don't think that every single one of them believe
that. But that's what you
said. But I do think that the legislation passed by the House reflects a statement of purpose that in order to support Israel, it's important
I'm looking at what you said.
Allow taxpayers to be able to cheat on their taxes.
You said that every single House Republican, none of whom you talked to, would only support Israel if it was made easier for Americans to cheat on their taxes. Now, you said that, and you didn't talk to any of them.
Senator Kennedy, I am struck by, and perhaps this is something on which we agree, that it is incredibly important to support Israel. It is also incredibly important to make sure that taxpayers at the top of the distribution
we agree on Israel, but
share.
I just can't believe you would say this about members of Congress. It's pretty pejorative, vicious. Let me finish. Without talking to them. I mean, would it be possible for somebody to support a reduction to the IRS budget because they simply believe the federal government ought to have a balanced budget? Would that be a fair position? Would that be a principled position?
Except that actually doesn't work with respect to defunding the IRS.
But would it be a principled position?
It wouldn't be an accurate position because defunding
But you don't know because
IRS
you didn't talk to anybody, did you?
Well,
you just said it.
Defunding the IRS, the CBO agrees, everyone who's testifying today agrees that is going to add to deficits, not reduce them.
Could it be that a House Republican wanted to reduce the IRS's budget because they think that the IRS is a model of inefficiency and shouldn't be rewarded with more money?
Well,
could that have been a possibility, a motivation for the way they voted?
Kennedy, I so appreciate that question because the reality
could that have been a motivation for the way they voted?
And it relates very closely to what Senator
Could that have been a motivation for the way they voted?
That you've seen an inefficient
Could that have been a motivation?
Let her respond, though. I actually do want her to respond. This is an interesting one. But the question would be, if he said it on Twitter, is Twitter like an official, or can it be considered official enough? Can't you be joking on Twitter? Can't you say I was making a joke, I was clowning or something? Or can you actually answer questions or take responsibility if you said something on Twitter? I don't know if that makes sense, and my question is understood. But I'd like to hear her talk too.
If you allow the witness to answer, you might get your answer, Senator Kennedy.
It frankly couldn't have been.
It could or couldn't?
It could not have been.
How do you know you didn't talk to him?
Because the reason why you've seen
you just
the IRS
made this statement that every Republican in the House supports Israel only if it has been made easier for people to cheat on their taxes. Could it be that maybe a House member thought that, well, the more money we spend, the more deficits we have, and the more deficits we have, the more pressure is put on interest rates, and the higher interest rates go, the more it hurts the poor. Could that have been the position of one of the House Republicans?
Senator Kennedy.
Could it have been theoretically?
It couldn't have been because everyone.
It couldn't have been?
It frankly couldn't.
How do you know? You didn't talk to him.
Well, I know that everyone agrees, including witnesses across the aisle, including CBO, including every single tax expert that has contemplated this question, that defunding the IRS makes deficits worse, not better. And so this is a deficit
I just find it,
measure.
Professor, appalling that you would make a statement like this, a vicious statement like this, without talking to a single person about whom you made the statement. And I'm going to remind you.
So I feel like his major concern is in false accusation. Well, I think that's where he might be headed. It's like you're talking about all these people, you're accusing all these people, basically, staining their names without even speaking to any of them. Why could you do this? Why would you do this? So I think that's where his major concern is. As far as asking the question, his question kind of feels like a statement. So like you can't really answer it. It's kind of like the question I get from my mom sometimes. She's asking you a question, but if you answer it, it can come with a love rod. I'll say it like that. It feels like that.
You can only be young once, but you can always be immature. And you ought to think about that.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Let me just say that I think that the treatment of witnesses is beginning to degrade a bit here. And I'm going to strike some commentary if it continues down this road. I think personal insults to witnesses are not appropriate, and I will not be tolerant of that in this committee.
Well, could I respond, Mr. Chairman? You're going to
fire away. I think you just called a
you're going to do what you got to do, but I'm going to continue to use my time. You bring witnesses as you're entitled to, and some of them are very good. Some of them have the credibility of Michael Avenatti, and I'm going to use my time when I think it's appropriate to test.
I'm going to use my authority as chairman
to test credibility, witnesses' credibility. So you do what you got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do.
Behavior in
but if that is meant to
Senator Kennedy is not having it. Well, let me know what you think about that one. Who do you think is in the wrong? Who do you think is in the right there? I thought I should bring that one. That is going to be an interesting one for you to see. But I feel like from both sides, you can tell where they are coming from. I mean, if you put your feet in both their shoes, you might understand better. I see you think it wasn't more of a question though, and she wasn't destroyed. Actually, she made a comment on Twitter. It sounds like I'm on her side. I'm not really though. I'm not picking any side, but she might have made a comment that Senator Kennedy does not appreciate, and I'm gonna say she was not able to defend herself or explain. But on the other hand, she didn't get the chance to do that. She didn't get the opportunity to do that, even though she was asked. It was an interesting one. Share your comments. If there's anything you want to add, correct, critique, feel free to do so in the comment section. With that being said, smash the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.